self-control with sobriety and staying motivated. I really wanted to gather my thoughts around this particular point of self-control because literally as soon as that person dropped that comment, I had a email come into my Gmail account and I got a big notification saying, want to grab a ice cold beer? And that to me was sort of a trigger, and to another degree, it kind of let me reflect more on what that person was commenting about. And I kind of was able to realize what that person was trying to say about self-control. So if my self-control towards combating any sort of trigger that comes into my privacy or into my personal space like that, and I mean, that to me, that notification was probably a bigger trigger than having a ice cold bottle of wine in my refrigerator. To ask me if I want an ice cold beer was sort of a trigger on top of it all. And so I kind of just realized that if something like that comes up, how am I going to react? Am I going to just take my phone and turn it off and throw it out of the window every single time and just be an introvert completely and cut out the entire outside world because of my fear for alcohol? So I can see where that person was coming from, and I'm actually glad that they made the point of that, of trying to understand the balance of self-control overall. And if you're going to one extreme to where you're cutting yourself out completely, you know, you're not living a balanced life. And I get that many of us who struggle with addiction can't be around it, and maybe you really do have to kick it out. I honestly still don't feel comfortable with alcohol in my house at all. As I've said before, I don't like the idea of it basically coming into a place that I'm paying for on a monthly basis, and to let it somehow have space in my life again, which I'm not going to let it have it in basically where I live. So I set the grounds. I don't want it in the house at all, and I'll probably continue that rule, but I do have to reflect on the idea of self-control in those situations and how I present myself in those situations, because in all honesty, overreacting to it isn't good. And honestly, I don't really feel totally perfect about how I handled it. I do feel good in that I didn't succumb to what crossed my mind and just drinking it. And so I'm thankful and grateful for that fact that I didn't let it happen. But I do somewhat agree that approaching the situation with a little bit more composure is a better idea, and understanding really how I'm going to continue to deal with these certain situations. Like I said, for instance, having an email show up basically and a big notification asking me if I want to grab a ice cold beer, which I can't run from my phone. I can't run from my emails. In fact, I absolutely need it if I'm going to continue to build this YouTube channel, build Facebook, build Instagram, build everything else. So I just thought that was important, and I mostly really wanted to make this video not because I felt as though I have a concrete answer for what self-control is, although I would have to think for myself it means balance more than anything, in how I react to things, and how can I have the self-control of balance in these situations and not going to either extreme too much. So I think that's important for me to internalize, and maybe for some of you guys to internalize. But as I said, this is for reflection, and I'd really like to see what you guys would what your guys' thoughts are on basically dealing with your self-control in these situations, and how exactly you deal with them. If, say, for instance, you walked into your refrigerator and randomly found alcohol, how would you react to it? Is there a way that you would deal with it personally, or what would you do? And I think that's really one of the other reasons why, like I said before, I'm making this YouTube channel, so I can continue my path on sobriety, and hopefully you guys can too, and we can continue growing and reflecting on these things together. So thank you for tuning in, and also if you guys haven't, please like the video, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and if you have any comments, leave them in the comments section so I can look at them and get some input from you guys. So thank you, and I will see you all soon.